So when I get Whoopi Goldberg on the flip saying, them little ones coming behind you, you better give a damn about you. That me that day that you've been there for 10 years and you accept them paying you that, and you telling me, don't worry about the little one coming up. God damn if I ain't got to be worried about you too. Because you accept that salary, it makes it hard. That crushed me.
And I said if you had called me, I could have schooled you on what was expected.
If I ain't got to be worried
For
about
8 years, my family has suffered and my career has suffered because what I would not allow those entities to do was me. And because I didn't allow the to happen, this is now what I sit in.
If you know anything about Monique, you'll be aware that she's always been outspoken and never one to hold back, especially when she feels wronged. Her willingness to speak out and name names is exactly what got her into trouble with big industry players like Oprah Winfrey, Lee Daniels, and Tyler Perry. She accused them of blackballing her, and she didn't just whisper it behind closed doors. She shouted it from the rooftops, making sure her voice was heard. Now, she's back at it again, and this time it's Whoopi Goldberg who's catching the heat. According to Monique, Whoopi Goldberg has shown a side that's less than genuine. Monique has called her two-faced and even went as far as labeling her a power slave in the entertainment industry. And it's clear she's had enough of what she sees as Whoopi's pretense. This latest feud came into the spotlight around the time when Monique made headlines for urging her fans to boycott Netflix over pay disparities. She pointed out that Netflix had offered her a mere $500,000 for a comedy special, which seemed like peanuts compared to the whopping $13 million and $20 million handed to Amy Schumer, Dave Chappelle, and Chris Rock, respectively. Feeling undercut and discriminated against, Monique wasn't going to let this slide quietly. She took her case public, airing her grievances across various media platforms, including a memorable appearance on The View. That episode of The View really turned up the heat. Monique, already feeling raw from past conflicts, was hoping to find some support or at least a listening ear. However, she was met with quite the opposite when she encountered Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi, one of the show's lead co-hosts, didn't pull any punches and openly criticized Monique. The tension was palpable. Things escalated further when Monique began discussing her deep feelings of betrayal by Daniels, Winfrey, and Perry, particularly over the international promotion, or lack thereof, of the 2009 drama Precious. Monique argued that her decision not to promote the film internationally was why she was blackballed, a stance that included grievances about not being compensated for additional promotional efforts. Whoopi, however, wasn't buying any of it and dismissed her claims outright. Cutting her off, Whoopi made her stance clear. I'm going to stop you because, contractually, when you make a movie, regardless of who you sign the deal with, your job is to go and promote said movie, she explained. And we've had this conversation, and I told you if you had called me, I could have schooled you on what was expected.
Because contractually,
Yes.
when you make a movie, regardless of who you sign the deal with,
Yes.
your job is to go and promote said movie. And I said if you had called me, I could have schooled you on what was expected.
But Monique wasn't just there to rehash old Hollywood dramas. She steered the conversation back to her more recent battle with Netflix and the boycott she called for due to what she saw as unequal pay. She argued that the actions of Perry, Daniels, Winfrey, and Lionsgate showed her that when you don't do what we ask you to do, we will take your livelihood away. Monique continued passionately, expressing the toll it had taken. For 8 years, my family and my career have suffered because I wouldn't let those entities and because I stood my ground against the This is the situation I find myself in. At this point, Whoopi, visibly frustrated, threw up her hands and shook her head as the show cut to a commercial break. Though Monique and Goldberg shared differing stances on this issue, it was the Sister Act star's The View salary that most recently caused her to break down. The comedienne told Comedy Hype that they had a conversation backstage at the show and things got emotional. She revealed, "When I get Whoopi Goldberg on the flip saying, 'F them little ones coming behind you. You better give a damn about you,' that crushed me that day in her dressing room." She was especially shaken when Whoopi disclosed her own salary from The View, which Monique found disappointingly low considering Whoopi's decade-long tenure on the show.
So when I get Whoopi Goldberg on the flip saying, them little ones coming behind you, you better give a damn about you. That crushed me that day.
Monique was taken aback by Whoopi's attitude. Because Whoopi Goldberg told me the salary she makes from The View, and that hurt my feelings. You've been there for 10 years and you accept them paying you that, and you're telling me, don't worry about the little ones coming up. Damn if I ain't got to be worried about you too. Because you accept that salary, it makes it hard for me. And how hard do you think it's going to make for the one who ain't here yet? Because you accept that salary.
That you've been there for 10 years and you accept them paying you that, and you telling me, don't worry about the little one coming up. God damn if I ain't got to be worried about you too. Because you accept that salary, it makes it hard.
This revelation was particularly painful for Monique, who has always been vocal about fighting not just for her own rights, but for those of future generations in the entertainment industry. She added that Whoopi's advice to disregard the upcoming women in the industry felt deeply troubling to her. It went against everything Monique stood for, which is to speak up and pave a smoother path for those who will follow in her footsteps. According to Monique, it's not just about her battle. It's about setting a precedent that benefits everyone, making the industry fairer for the next person who hasn't even arrived yet. But from her conversation, it seemed like Whoopi didn't share this perspective, which really unsettled Monique. To stand in my sister's dressing room and she says to me, "You can't be worried about the one coming up. What if Mom's Mabley didn't worry about you?" she said. "What if those ones didn't make it better for us?" So I tried not to take it personal, but it's personal because these are the women I look to. So I don't want the little girl who's not here yet, or a little girl down the street at the juice bar. I don't want her to walk away and say, that ain't who I thought she was.
I try not to take it personal, but it's personal. Because these are the women I look to. Or a little girl right down the street at the juice bar that says, oh my goodness, that's Monique. I don't want her to walk away and say, that ain't who I thought she was.
This whole situation sheds light on a side of Whoopi Goldberg that doesn't quite match up with her public persona. Despite being an EGOT winner, having snagged an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, her reputation behind the scenes can be a bit controversial. Monique isn't the only one who's seen a less flattering side of Whoopi. Since joining The View as a co-host in 2007, Whoopi has certainly stirred up her share of drama. Take, for instance, the episode from January 31st, 2022, when The View tackled the topic of a Tennessee school district banning the graphic novel Mouse, which tells the story of a Holocaust survivor. The discussion took a contentious turn when Whoopi claimed that the Holocaust was not about race, but rather man's inhumanity to man.
It's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
This view sparked a lot of backlashes. Co-host Ana Navarro countered by saying it was actually about white supremacy, highlighting the genocide's focus on Jews and gypsies. Whoopi didn't back down, though. She argued that it was a conflict between two groups of white people. Joy Behar jumped in, pointing out that the Nazis specifically categorized Jews as a separate race. Leora Rez from the watchdog group Stop Anti-Semitism called Whoopi's comments reprehensible. The fallout from her statements was significant. Whoopi faced a lot of criticism, and the backlash led to her being suspended from The View for 2 weeks. ABC News President Kim Godwin even made a statement saying, "While Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments."
This morning, ABC News suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks in response to her inflammatory remarks about the Holocaust.
Also, there was a really awkward episode on The View where she unexpectedly asked co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin if she was pregnant. Alyssa, who was the former White House Director of Strategic Communications, was clearly taken aback and exclaimed, "No, oh my God." This led to chaos on the set, with the audience reacting loudly and her fellow co-hosts questioning Whoopi's judgment by asking, "Why would you say that? This is so wrong. Whoopi is a..." An outraged viewer posted on X. Even if she were pregnant, she would have forced her to announce with that question. She could ask during break or before the start of the show. Such a disgusting behavior.
Are you pregnant?
No! Oh my God!
Where did you say that?
You can't say that when my mother-in-law is here, who's been dying for me to get pregnant.
Why would you say that?
Then there's the issue of blackface. Back in 1993, when Whoopi was dating actor Ted Danson, he appeared in blackface at her Friars Club roast. According to reports from that time, including the Associated Press, several attendees were offended and walked out. It was noted that Danson's racist jokes were apparently made at Whoopi's suggestion. Although this happened long before her time on The View, when discussions about blackface arose on the show, Whoopi didn't really condemn it strongly. Whoopi also stirred up controversy with her comments on domestic violence. In 2014, after NFL player Ray Rice was caught on camera in a domestic abuse incident with his wife, Jane A. Palmer, Whoopi's take was quite contentious. She said on the show, "Don't be surprised if you hit a man, he hits you back." She acknowledged that her viewpoint might attract criticism, but explained her stance by saying, "If you're a woman who is 4'3", and you decide to hit a guy who is 6 feet tall, and you're the last thing he wants to deal with that day, and he hits you back, you cannot be surprised."
So don't be surprised if you hit a man and he you back, who's 4'3", and you decide to hit a guy who's 6 foot tall, and you're the last thing he wants to deal with that day. Hits you back, you cannot be surprised.
Then there's her defense of Bill Cosby in July 2015. When multiple SA accusations were swirling around Cosby, Whoopi declared on The View that he should be considered innocent until proven guilty.
I hope that there is justice for this lady. I hope somebody gets to the bottom of this. But I'm going to reserve my judgment because I have a lot of questions. As I said, it's crazy.
This stance sparked a significant disagreement with her then co-host Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie later shared on Brooke Shields' podcast, Now What?, that she really wanted to delve into the Cosby issue on the show, but Whoopi was reluctant.
To me, but I knew I had to leave. So I was like, I got to get out of here. I can't do this. I'm not Whoopi Goldberg. I have no desire to her.
Eventually, Cosby was found guilty in 2018 of an M-wording Andrea Constand in 2004, although he was released 3 years later on a technicality. Adding to her string of controversial moments, Whoopi also used an ethnic slur in a March 2023 episode. While discussing Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels, she used a derogatory term to describe being cheated in the election. Realizing her mistake, she apologized an hour after the episode aired, explaining in a tweeted video that she had used a term from her youth without thinking through its implications. She admitted she should have chosen her words more carefully and apologized for not doing so. You know, when you're a certain age, you use the words that you know from when you were a kid, or you remember saying, "And that's what I did today, and I shouldn't have," Goldberg said in a video. She continued, "I should have thought about it a little longer before I said it, and I didn't. I should have said cheated, and I used another word, and I'm really, really sorry." All these incidents have led some people to question Whoopi's judgment and character, contributing to why she's caught Monique's attention. Monique is particularly upset with Whoopi because of the advice she gave her about not worrying about future generations. This advice seems even more dissonant considering the long-standing issues Monique has had with Oprah Winfrey, Lee Daniels, and Tyler Perry. Monique has accused them of messing with her career for a long time, which adds another layer to why she'd be sensitive to Whoopi's seemingly dismissive advice. The thing is, Monique also dropped a bombshell about how OPR allegedly snatched up roles that were meant for her. Like, remember The Butler? Yeah, it was supposed to be hers, or so she says. Lee Daniels apparently offered it to her, but when OPR expressed interest, well, you can guess who ended up with the part.
But as he said to me, he said, "Mo, at the time I didn't have no power and I didn't have no money. So when Oprah said she wanted it, so who played the lead role in The Butler? Oprah Winfrey."
And it doesn't stop there. Lee Daniels had this biopic in the works about Richard Pryor. And guess who he wanted to play the grandmother? Monique. But lo and behold, OPR swoops in and claims the role for herself. Now, Monique's not saying OPR intentionally stole these parts, but she's definitely raising some eyebrows about the whole situation. She's like, hey, let's sit down and talk about this, because from where she's standing, it's all looking a bit suspect. Let's rewind a bit to the Monique and OPR showdown. This drama started way back in 2009 when Monique starred in Precious, a movie produced by OPR and Tyler Perry and directed by Lee Daniels. The real beef kicked off when OPR and Tyler decided Monique should hit the press circuit for the film without any paycheck. Monique wasn't having it and straight up said, "Nah, not in my contract." According to Monique, she only got a measly $50K for the whole movie, which was barely enough. Now they wanted her to jet around the world promoting the film for free, not on Monique's watch. But OPR and Tyler didn't take her refusal well at all. Instead, they started trashing her reputation in the industry, spinning a narrative about her being difficult to work with. Monique spilled the tea, saying Tyler Perry told her, "You may want to consider promoting this film because if you get nominated for an Oscar, your next film is $3 to $5 million. And if you win it, your next film is $6 to $8 million. Monique was like, hold up, I'm a black woman. Where are they paying those salaries, brother? She straight up told Tyler, I can't work for free. I've done what I was supposed to do. I can't go overseas and do this for free. Their back and forth continued, with Tyler saying he doesn't believe in giving money away for free, and Monique firing back, I don't believe in working for free. So we on the same page? It's a classic case of clash in values, and Monique wasn't backing down.
He goes on about his spiel, I said, well, listen, you can write me the check for me to go overseas. I don't care where the money comes from, but I'm not going to do it for free.
She also claimed Tyler Perry allegedly went the extra mile to mess with her acting gigs. According to Monique, it all went down after she turned down a request to fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival, tied to promoting the movie Precious. The movie studio initially asked her to jet off to France, but Monique, with her busy schedule as a talk show host, comedian, and family woman, respectfully declined. They tried to sweeten the deal by offering to upgrade her hotel room, but she and her husband stuck to their saying, nah, we're going to spend this time with our family. She said, OPR, I'm doing a talk show. I'm doing a comedy tour. I have a husband and I have babies. I have a little bit of downtime and I'm going to take advantage of it. So I'm not going anywhere because I'm not obligated to go anywhere. I've done my part. So we mutually agreed to disagree. That was it. Next thing I know, I am considered difficult and hard to work with when the third call came and they asked, what's it going to take to get Monique to France? Her husband straight up asked, is there a number associated with it? That's when they dropped the bomb that they would never pay for anyone to do promotions for a movie. Monique revealed she was paid a mere $50,000 for Precious, and it wasn't about the money. She signed up to do it with her friend. The interviewer dug in, suggesting she needed the money to feed her family and pay bills, and Monique responded, I think that's what America says. We all say, I can't do it for free. She explained that when the movie studio refused to pay for her Cannes appearance, they didn't make a fuss. But then the reports started flying, painting Monique as demanding and difficult. The whole thing boiled down to a simple request that they understood couldn't be met. But suddenly, Monique found herself labeled, and that's where the drama kicked in.
We understood, because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friend. Studio says we can't set a precedence and pay you to do this. We didn't have an issue with them.
Okay.
But that's when the reports came that now Monique is being demanding and she's being difficult.
Monique doesn't stop there. She spilled some more tea during her Apollo set, saying that the term blackballed isn't quite right in her book. In her words, she said, what is that black D connected to? That black man? So no, I was not blackballed. I was whiteballed by some black Ds who have no balls. Thank you, Mr. Lee Daniels. Thank you, Mr. Tyler Perry. Thank you, Miss OPR Winfrey, she continued. See, I know they like to say, Monique, you talk too mother effing much. It would K me not to say the real SHT. You are not paying me equally. You are not treating me fairly, so you ID if I had one. Media stories start popping up, painting Monique as difficult to work with. Suddenly, no one wanted to cast her, despite her winning an Oscar for her role in Precious. Imagine seeing all your hard work go down the drain. Monique started putting two and two together, realizing someone was out to get her. In a recent chat with The Hollywood Reporter, she spilled the beans that Precious director Lee Daniels admitted she got blackballed for not playing the game. Monique's even called out OPR and Tyler Perry, asking for an apology that, as far as we know, is still MIA. But the drama doesn't end there. A year after the film was released, OPR invited members of Monique's estranged family onto her talk show against Monique's wishes. Here's the backstory. Monique's brother AE'd her when she was 7 to 11, and she had been open about it in a 2008 interview with Essence. Monique confided in OPR about her strained relationship with her parents due to the A, and OPR seemed understanding. Now, Monique's not thrilled about it, to say the least. OPR supposedly gave her a heads up that only her brother was going to be on the show, but surprise, surprise, her mom ends up making an appearance too. And let's just say, it stirred up some serious drama in Monique's personal life. People started coming up to her in the store, throwing shade at her mom. Monique's quick to throw in some humor to ease the tension, joking that while the ladies in the store weren't exactly lying about her mom, she still felt the sting. She makes it clear that if OPR had just given her a heads up about bringing her mom on, she would have shut it down real quick. Monique was blindsided seeing commercials featuring her family. OPR had gone back on her word, pretending to be caring. Monique demanded an apology, but OPR offered zilch. No private, no public apology, nothing. So you can imagine the hurt and betrayal Monique feeling about the whole situation. It's like a to the gut, and she's not holding back in calling it what it is, a betrayal. Now, Monique isn't the only one who's had issues with fair pay in Hollywood. Taraji P. Henson also made some waves this year when she opened up about not being paid what she deserves for her work. It all kicked off with the promotion of the remake of the Color Purple film. Now, this remake is in the hands of some heavy hitters like OPR Harpo Films, Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment, SGS Pictures, and Quincy Jones Productions, the same folks who brought us the original adaptation back in 1985, with OPR herself rocking the role of Sophia. Now, fast forward to the new version, where we've got Danielle Brooks as Sophia, Fantasia as protagonist Sele Harris, and Taraji owning the stage as Suge Avery. Sounds like a stellar lineup, right? Well, here's the twist. You'd think that with Taraji's decades of experience and a shelf full of awards, fair pay wouldn't be an issue, especially in a project where OPR is calling the shots as a producer. But surprise, surprise, Taraji spilled the tea that OPR didn't exactly go to bat for her or the other leading ladies when it came to the paycheck. According to Taraji, the initial offer was downright disrespectful, and the big shots refused to budge until she laid down the ultimatum of walking away from the whole project. In a recent heart-to-heart with OPR BFF, Gayle King, Taraji spilled the beans and hinted that she might just throw in the acting towel for good. Why? Because she's straight up tired of the never-ending battle for fair pay. The conversation got real when Taraji opened up about the ongoing struggle for fair pay that Black actress, even veterans like herself, still face in the industry. She dropped the bomb that she's seriously considering hitting the brakes on acting altogether. Why? Because she's tired of busting her butt, being all gracious in her craft, and still getting paid peanuts. Taraji spilled, "The math ain't Maything. Every time she smashes through a glass ceiling, it's like she never did it when the paycheck talks come around again." Taraji broke it down, saying she wants to fight for the up-and-coming actresses, be a voice for the next generation, but she's stuck in a loop of not getting what she deserves herself. It's a frustrating cycle, and you can hear the exhaustion in her voice as she explained, "I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired." She's not just fighting for herself, she's trying to pave the way for those coming up behind her. Also, Taraji called out the industry's double standard, where they shower you with praise for one project, but act like they're broke when it's time for you to cash in. It's a raw and real moment, and it's clear that Taraji is just fed up with the whole game. Also, on December 19th, Taraji sat down for a deep dive during an hour-long SAG After Foundation Conversations interview. In the midst of discussing her various roles, she dropped another bomb about her experience with the 2008 blockbuster, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Taraji spilled the tea that she had to throw down and fight for a cool $500,000. And mind you, this is the very movie that snagged her an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. In her own words, Taraji spilled, "So that's why that Benjamin Button story hit so hard, because all I was asking was for $500,000. She wasn't trying to take anything away from the A-listers like Brad Pitt, Kate Winslet, or Kate Blanchett. Taraji knows they earned their keep and worked hard for it. But dang, you'd think after an Oscar nod, she wouldn't have to pull teeth just to get a fair slice of the pie. It seems that everyone Monique has put on blast, including Whoopi Goldberg, has displayed some duplicity. Fortunately, Monique isn't one to hold back. You can bet she'll keep calling them out and dropping more names. Let me know what you guys think of all this in the comment section, and we'll see you in the next video.